Welcome to Coach My Wellness, a weekly show dedicated to bringing you information about healthy habits and behaviors just for the health of it. Here's your hosts, Joanne and Tammy.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Tammy.
And I'm Joanne.
From Coach My Wellness, just for the health of it. And we're going to pick up our conversation where we left off. And we're going to talk about how to continue developing that self-efficacy and self-determination. And some of it involves learning how to love and appreciate yourself and the things that you've already accomplished, and knowing that having one little mistake is not going to throw off the entire world.
Well, that goes back to the progress, not perfection.
Right. And forgiving yourself.
When you aim for perfection, you have to be able to learn how to forgive yourself. Do you want to talk about that?
Right. So, and learning to forgive yourself really leads into the self-compassion, because I hear so many people talk about the inner critic, and when they mess up, they're so harsh, and how do I stop doing that? And I often will say to them, well, if your best friend said to you the same thing, oh, I did this or I did that, or I went to a barbecue and I was so horrible because I ate all of this stuff, and they were telling you, and you knew that they were working on getting healthier, how would you react to them? And they'll say, oh, well, I'd be like, no big deal. It was one day. It was this, it was that. I'm like, so how come you're not telling yourself that?
Well, so much of that, I think, is self-esteem and learning how to love and appreciate your own body. And research has repeatedly found that people who dislike their bodies are less likely to lose weight. So it's important to take steps to improve your body image, which in turn will help you to lose more weight and to maintain whatever weight loss that you've had. And furthermore, people who have a better body image are more likely to pick a diet that they can sustain and perhaps even try some new activities that will help them to reach their goals. There are so many ways that you can select new activities out there. I mean, just go onto YouTube. My goodness, I have one of my clients, she's belly dancing right now.
Oh, really, that's amazing.
Isn't that fun? So, she's just trying new things. I have another client of mine who decided to try boxing.
Oh, wow. Really, that's for getting out your frustration and anger at everybody else.
Right.
Take it out on the bag, man.
Exactly. There are so many things that you can do to really boost your body image, which is that really helps to calm that inner critic.
Mm-hmm.
Finding something that you enjoy, that you're successful at. And not everybody is successful at everything, but It doesn't mean that you still can't choose different things. So whether it's, a unique form of exercise that you've never done before, it's being able to appreciate what your body can do. But there are other things that you can do, such as getting a massage or even a manicure, or I love this one, surrounding yourself with positive people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can tell you that through the pandemic, that was one of the things that was quite interesting for many people, was just getting rid of the toxicity in relationships.
Right. And that was such a big thing when you could now have that space between you and the toxic person. But all of that also takes some positive self-talk and thinking positively and talking positively and having these positive expectations. People who use change talk, which is that positive self-talk about how they want to achieve something, are more likely to follow through with their plans, as opposed to the person who says, oh, this is what I want, but oh, there's no way I'm ever going to get there. Well, guess what? You're right. But if you have that change talk in you that says, this is what I want, and here are the things that I'm doing, or the little steps that I'm taking, or I can do this, that also helps get you on the way and make those behavioral changes that are necessary, which is also why it's important to, especially around weight loss, to set your goals in small, achievable segments. I'll often work with my clients who have a lot of weight to lose. We work in 5-pound segments. We don't do, oh, I've got 25 pounds. I'm going to lose 25 pounds. Okay, well, we're going to do 5 at a time. Or having 50 or 100 pounds to lose. We do small segments because people who spend a lot of time fantasizing about their dream weight are actually less likely to reach that goal because they're fantasizing about it and they're mentally indulging it instead of actually doing something to get there. And you can do something that's called mentally contrasting it, which is spending a few minutes imagining reaching your goal weight and then another few minutes imagining any obstacles that may happen to get in the way of that. Because then what happens is you're already thinking about, how do I get beyond those obstacles? What are those hurdles? How do I get over them or around them? And those are important things.
Well, self-compassion is so much a part of what you're talking about. It just really brings it up for me. And self-compassion really involves openness to experiencing full range of human emotions so that they're acknowledged and honored without judgment and suppression and avoidance. The practice of mindfulness really does allow for non-judgmental or observational approach to one's thoughts and feelings. It's so important that we can treat ourselves with kindness, as you said before, the way that we would talk to someone else that we love. You know, we're so critical of ourselves and so hard on ourselves, and that can really hinder the process of moving forward.
Mm-hmm. And this scientist, Kristen Neff, she does a lot of writing and she is like the queen of self-compassion. And the way she defines it is that self-compassion is self-kindness, a sense of common humanity, and mindfulness. So it's partly recognizing that whatever I'm going through, whatever I'm quote unquote suffering, it's common to humans. It's common to all humanity. I'm not alone. Other people feel this way too about these things. And that can lead you into being kinder to yourself. In one of the support groups that I lead, we'll start talking about something and I'll hear someone make that very critical comment to themselves or about themselves. And usually I'll stop the conversation and say, hold on. Is that something that you would say to your best friend, your favorite child, your favorite grandchild, niece, nephew? And usually the response is, well, no, of course not. And then I phrase it to them like this. Then what gives you the right to say that to yourself? People often don't realize how nasty they're being to themselves because that inner critic, that voice is going all the time. But we don't have a right to be nasty to other people. If we don't have a right to be nasty to other people, we don't have that right for ourselves. And I think often people, they'll say to me, well, but if I'm not hard on myself, then who else is going to be? You don't have to be hard on yourself. That's why having this self-efficacy and making these choices, having self-determination is the thing, because that's what motivates you to accomplish it. That's what keeps you going. And so self-kindness requires you to recognize that human experience inevitably includes suffering, heartache, embarrassment, disappointment, failure. And when you choose to be gentle and forgive yourself, instead of being angry and self-critical, that's exercising self-compassion.
Well, self-compassion will lead to self-determination.
Correct.
Because you're letting yourself off the hook. And that's part of what the autonomy is really all about. That's when you encourage yourself to be reflective and to make choices in lines with your values, your needs, and your motivation. It's all a part of that. And I think another really big piece of this is empathy.
To be empathetic with yourself. And when you're able to empathize with other people, it allows you to increase your empathy with yourself. And another thing that plays into this is another one of my favorite people, Brene Brown, talking about shame and vulnerability. And there's really nothing to be ashamed of if you make a mistake in working toward your goal. So my goal is to be healthier, and I'm so ashamed because I had chocolate chip cookies over the weekend at the barbecue. See, that's not something to be ashamed about. You can recognize it. You're like, yeah, I chose to have that. And now how am I going to compensate for that today? Because I chose to have the chocolate chip cookies yesterday. Again, that's an example of showing self-compassion. You don't have to be critical. You don't have to demean yourself. You can just accept the fact that, okay, I had these chocolate chip cookies yesterday. And so today, when I'm presented with having another dessert or a pastry or something, I can reflect and say, you know what? I had that yesterday. I'm good. I'm good.
It's interesting because when you talk about all of this empathy for yourself, and this is what would be beneficial for us to do, many of us are just very shamed by the behaviors that we have, and we don't feel that we have a safe space in order to share it or to dissect it or understand it. And I know that all coaching relationships really has to begin with the premise that change is facilitated by a calm, a safe, and a judgment-free relational space where people are free to honestly share their thoughts, their feelings, their needs, and their desires without fear of judgment, any kind of ridicule or pressure. And that's so important when clients are experiencing, this conflict that they have between what they want and where they are. And so many people, when they first come to me, feel stuck. I don't know what other word to use, but just
Right.
stuck and unable to move. And that's why it's so important to have empathy, not only me personally toward my clients, but to help to educate them into accepting empathy for themselves.
Yeah. And having that's where, really having the experience and the challenge of developing more self-kindness and developing the vulnerability to not be shamed in the ways that are inconsequential that we'll often shame ourselves. Don't get me wrong, there are certain things that should be shamed in our society, but most of the things that we shame ourselves about are not things that are actually should be shamed. They're normal mistakes that humans make as they're learning to move forward. And so many times when we're in situations that we get embarrassed or we're disappointed, we become ashamed that, well, I shouldn't feel that way. Really? Why not? It's a normal human emotion. You had an expectation, you were disappointed, it did not come to pass, or it didn't happen the way you wanted it to, or thought it should. And so I'm disappointed. And we never really learn a mindfulness practice in how to take that and recognize that disappointment or that embarrassment and see that it's something that happens, but it doesn't define who I am. It's important that we have relationships where we can be seen all of our imperfections and know that we're truly loved and we're not judged. And when you find one of those relationships, it's really important to hold on to it, but then challenge yourself to become that relationship, become that person for yourself and for someone else.
Yeah. It's interesting. I was just on vacation with my husband, and we were traveling out west for a family wedding. And I made a very specific decision that I was going to pick and choose what I wanted to eat while I was away.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a whole game plan that I had prepared in my head before we went on our trip. And I, outside of that, was compensating by knowing that I had to perhaps do a little bit more physical activity. And I knew that we would be walking more. And I made sure to be drinking all of my water throughout the day and also fueling my body. So even if I went off my program and I was doing something that perhaps wasn't the healthiest choice, I guess, best way to put it, of food, I know that whatever it was, an hour and a half or 2 hours later, I would go and I would have my healthy snack. And
right.
I can tell you that I ate a whole lot less. But my point was that at one point, I guess I was a little out of control by having something that I really haven't had in a long time. And it was an emotional challenge for me. And I knew that it was as I was looking at it, but there was this pizza thing that they had there where they had this brick oven pizza on the site for the wedding. And they were making the most unbelievable pizzas. And it was almost at a point where I just couldn't control myself. And I know that's like really kind of crazy to say, and it wasn't even really control. It was just, I was truly enjoying what I was having that I haven't had in really quite a long time. And my husband, who supports me, by the way, 5,000%, and then some, he made a comment to me where it kind of stopped me in my tracks, where I felt like I was doing something wrong.
Oh,
this is really true. And it was a very he just made some kind of comment about, oh, like, I see you really enjoying that pizza. And right away, I got very self-conscious, felt like I was doing something wrong, was really embarrassed. Like, here I've been working so hard to successfully maintain my, 65-pound weight loss. And I'm so focused so much of the time. And it's like he pinned me on, like, it was almost like I felt like I was sneaking food.
Right.
Right.
And I'm sure that was not his intention. I know your husband. I'm sure
not at all. And I looked at him and he said to me, honey, I'm not judging you, because he saw the look on my face, because I went and I was about to take a bite of the pizza that I had, which was really delicious. It had like sauteed onions and potatoes. I don't know. It was just really eye-watering to me. And I stopped like midway biting through the slice of pizza, and I put it down, and I felt miserable. And I had to take a deep breath. And I said, I'll be right back. I have to go to the restroom, which was true. And I needed a moment to regroup and to evaluate, number one, why I felt that way, what it brought up for me, which is going back to stuff. And I know better, right? But I sat there and I said, I'm making a choice to have this pizza because it's what I'm choosing to do right now, that I really do maintain. I was just pumping myself up without my coach being there, reaffirming all of the positive things that I did, instead of going down that rabbit hole of being so negative about having something that I know that wasn't the best choice. And I took a moment and I reevaluated, and I went back out and I finished my pizza and I enjoyed it.
I'm so proud of you, because it's hard.
It was hard, but I went through the process. But what I'm proud of myself for, Tammy, is that I didn't go down that shame rabbit hole.
Yes, that's the huge piece. And being able to recognize that, which is why mindfulness comes in such a big perspective on this. And I know I tell my groups all the time, and I've said this before in one of our previous segments, the way John Kabat-Zinn defines mindfulness, if you can get that sort of woven into your being about what it is. So his definition is mindfulness is awareness that arises through paying attention on purpose in the present moment, non-judgmentally, in the service of self-understanding and wisdom. So in you being able to excuse yourself, go to the bathroom, go wherever to collect your thoughts, it was being aware, oh, that comment, what is going on? How did that affect me? And that awareness, and then thinking through that process, paying attention to how you reacted to something that was not a judgmental comment, and doing it on purpose and seeing, oh, wait, he said this, which had nothing to do with how I'm feeling right now. It has nothing to do with what's coming up, because the what's coming up is not stuff that's happening in the present moment. The what's coming up is the stuff that's happened in the past that shamed you in the past because, oh, thin girls don't eat pizza, or thin girls don't do this, or thin girls don't do that. And how quickly it comes back. And then deciding that I'm going to be non-judgmental. This is the choice that I'm making. This is how I'm going to move forward. And then what it does is it brings self-understanding and wisdom, which allowed you to go back out, finish your slice of pizza, enjoy it to 100%, 1,000%, and then move on from that day without the black and white thinking of, oh, well, I already had pizza. That's it. I screwed up the whole day, right? Because that's what happens when we don't exercise self-compassion and understanding and mindfulness, is we go back to living or existing in the black and white. Oh, I already screwed up. Doesn't matter how many ever steps I took forward. That's it. I'm giving all of those steps up. And don't get me wrong, I also struggle with this because there are plenty of things where I just sometimes will throw out my hands, and then it's like, nope, come on, think about this. Okay, what happened yesterday? It's not that it doesn't matter, but it does not have to impact today in a negative fashion. I can choose to be in today's moment for today.
Look, the 80-20 rule, if I'm living my lifestyle 80% of the time, that if I have a moment where I choose to have the pizza or I choose to have the ice cream, that's a choice. And that is the roller coaster of weight loss. I mean, to be laser focused, which I am when I'm in that mindset, nothing will stand in my way. But yet I allow myself to let things get in the way at times, just in the journey, because otherwise, oh my gosh, this is just not going to be possible to sustain. And knowing that if I'm consistently consistent with 80% doing what I know is the healthful choice for me, then I'm moving forward. And that's all that I can do. I always want to be moving forward instead of backwards.
Right. And it's important to acknowledge and understand that the social situation that you were in, you're not in all the time.
That's
right?
A good point. Yes.
You're not in that place and doing those things. And it's really important that you address that. And you did, when you took that step back and was like, why am I feeling this way? You were taking that social environment into consideration. Oh, yeah, I'm not always at a wedding with this. So I don't have to be ashamed. I don't have to feel like I need to hide whatever I'm doing. I can sit up straight, enjoy this piece of pizza, and be like, yeah. Now, do I need to eat 6 of them? No, but I can enjoy this one. Mm-hmm.
And I also did not feel attracted to the alcohol. You see, and that was another way of rationalizing things in my head. That I'm going to be dancing. I know that I'm having this pizza, but it's really just like a skinny little piece of whatever. If I have 2 or 3 of them, I'm really good to go. And I could be standing in front of a group of people drinking this alcoholic beverage that has a lot of juice maybe in it if you're having something, and, you know, putting probably more calories into my body than the slice of pizza, or the fact that the sugar from the alcohol would get into my bloodstream really fast. And of course, we all know that when we drink a lot of alcohol, that we're not making the best choices.
Right.
But I wanted to make the best choices. And that's the thing, Tammy. It was really a choice for me. And it's these kinds of situations that I personally get myself into that I can share with my clients, because I know that they're thinking this. I know that they've been there. They've been in that situation. And I know what it's like when people are looking at you, or you think people are looking at you.
I mean, come on, we're health coaches. The people who know what we do are always the ones looking at us.
Always.
And they're the ones that are making the comments saying, oh, I thought you were a health coach. Why are you eating that? And, you know, sometimes the 4-year-old in me comes out and is like, because I want to. You know, it's like, shut up. Because I want to.
Did I know you when I was 4? I said the same.
Those are the common emotions that are common to man.
Exactly. You know? Lightening it up a little bit. You know?
Right. And all of us, self-compassion, learning that it's the openness to experience the full range of emotions. And I know you said that earlier. And you can honor those emotions without suppressing them, without avoiding them, without exaggerating them, or even without ruminating. And I don't know if everybody knows what ruminating is, but that's what cows do when a farmer says, oh, they're chewing their cud. That's stuff that they already ate that they're bringing back. Yeah, we should not be doing that, because we don't have the need to do that. And people will ruminate on things. Oh, she looked at me funny. Oh, she saw me eating that pizza. Oh, now she's not going to think I'm a good health coach. Oh, that's it. I blew my example. Oh, I'm never going to get any clients out of this group. Oh, they all saw this. I'm such a loser. Why am I health coaching? All of that is ruminations. None of that is helpful. None of it. I'm not being compassionate to myself. I'm feeling ashamed. And guess what? Ain't nobody doing that, because you don't know what that person was thinking when they looked at you. That was you throwing your shame out to them so it could reflect back on you. And even if they were a nasty person that did say something, that's still their problem, not yours.
That's true. All true. That's great insight, Tammy. Thank you for sharing that. And we hope today that everyone paid attention to what we were talking about. It's really great stuff. You know, we'd love for you to join us every Sunday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 a.m. Pacific Coast Time. And we have lots of talking to do through this, you know, through this series that we're working on health coaching and how this can benefit you and the benefits of health coaching and just really how to self-care better. So we invite you to follow us on Instagram at CoachMyWellness_CMW. We have live Instagrams that will be on Thursday evenings at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time going forward. So watch out for our announcements on that. And please don't miss out on our newsletter by registering for our newsletter and subscribing to our website at CoachMyWellness.com. So thank you so much for joining us today. I'm Joanne Orshan.
And I'm Tammy St. Clair, and we look forward to you listening next Sunday.
Have a great week.
Bye-bye.
You've been listening to Coach My Wellness. For more information about healthy habits and behaviors, visit our website at coachmywellness.com and follow us on Instagram at coachmywellness_CMW for weekly live streams Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern. We hope to see you there.